The truth about good-for-you, ultra-processed foods. The truth about healthy, ultra-processed foods will make you rethink your snacks. By Sarah Todd, August 4, 2025. Reporter, Commercial Determinants of Health. Can protein bars and diet cereals labeled as healthy truly deliver? A groundbreaking new study challenges popular assumptions, and the results might surprise you. While not all ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are created equal, the research reinforces that whole, minimally processed foods might hold greater benefits for weight loss and overall health. Here's the bombshell. Even when UPFs meet strict nutritional guidelines, they still underperformed compared to real, whole foods in a controlled trial. Participants following either a UPF-based diet or a home-cooked meal plan lost weight, but those eating minimally processed foods shed twice as much fat mass and saw sharper drops in heart disease risk markers. The study, published in Nature Medicine, involved 50 participants who alternated between two diets over 16 weeks. Both plans met UK nutritional guidelines for protein, fiber, fruits, and vegetables, but one relied on convenience foods like frozen lasagna, while the other featured meals like homemade spaghetti bolognese prepared by professional chefs. Researchers carefully tracked calorie intake through food deliveries and diaries to minimize variables. The numbers don't lie. Participants on the minimally processed diet achieved a 2% average weight loss versus 1% for the UPF group. More importantly, they lost more fat mass, reported fewer cravings, and showed significant reductions in triglycerides, a critical heart health indicator. The UPF group had one silver lining: lower LDL, bad cholesterol levels. But who's really winning? Traditional nutrition advice says eat more whole foods, but the study introduces a gray area. UPFs meeting strict dietary guidelines can still lead to weight loss. Stanford professor Christopher Gardner, unaffiliated with the study, argues these distinctions aren't always black and white. The key difference, he suggests, lies in whether the UPFs are nutritionally sound or mere junk food masquerading as healthy. Why minimally processed foods victory? Researchers propose 3 factors. 1. Calorie density. Health-conscious UPFs may still contain more calories per bite than whole foods. 2. Palatability. Participants rated homemade meals less flavorful, potentially leading to overeating on UPF diets. 3. Processing effects. Industrial procedures that break down and reassemble ingredients could alter metabolic responses. The reality challenge: even with free food delivered to their doors, participants struggled to stick with the minimally processed diet. Why? Time, cost, and accessibility play huge roles. Julia Wolfson, a public health expert, notes these real-world barriers make UPFs hard to avoid and advocates a balanced approach. When consuming UPFs, choose options with labels aligning to dietary guidelines. But here's the catch. This study wasn't a free-for-all. Scholars stress these results don't apply to people who don't currently eat much UPFs. The trial excluded strict religious diets, kosher, halal, and vegans, limiting generalizability. The bigger conversation: debates now rage between two camps. Should public health efforts focus on making UPFs healthier through reformulation, or create systems to make whole foods more accessible? The study suggests neither path provides a complete solution. As Cohen anniversary Sam Dicken explains, we need healthier products that align with guidelines, but accessibility remains a hurdle tied to financial inequality. Breaking down the controversy. Some argue reformulating UPFs, reducing sodium, adding protein, offers tangible progress. Others counter that this only treats symptoms, not the root cause of chronic disease linked to industrial foods. One thing both sides agree on: the fight against diet-related diseases requires multifaceted approaches. Ask yourself, what would you do? 1. If reducing UPF consumption is a luxury reserved for the affluent, does that make them inherently bad? 2. Should public health campaigns prioritize demonizing all UPFs or promoting realistic strategies for those who rely on them? 3. Could the current obsession with protein-enriched UPFs be misleading consumers? We want to hear from you. Do you think the answer lies in stricter food regulations, better access to whole foods, or somewhere in between? Join the debate below.
Lose weight with home cooking, the power of minimally processed foods.
Eating home-cooked meals and minimally processed foods can lead to greater weight loss compared to consuming ultra-processed and ready-made options, a groundbreaking study reveals. But here's where it gets controversial. This study, the first of its kind, establishes a clear connection between ultra-processed foods, UPFs, and weight gain, challenging the common belief that all calories are equal. The research, conducted by University College London and UCL Hospital's NHS Trust, involved 55 adults with an average body mass index BMI of 32, indicating obesity. Participants were divided into two groups, each following one of two diets for 8 weeks, before switching to the alternative diet for another 8 weeks. One diet consisted entirely of UPFs, while the other was based on minimally processed foods. Both diets were nutritionally balanced according to government guidelines, ensuring that factors like fat, salt, and sugar were controlled.
The key difference lay in how the foods were prepared and processed.
For example, while the UPF group enjoyed breakfast bars and ready-made lasagna, the minimally processed group savored homemade dishes like oats soaked in milk and yogurt, and freshly prepared spaghetti bolognese. The results were striking. Participants on the minimally processed diet lost twice as much weight as those on the UPF diet. They also reported fewer food cravings and better control over their eating habits, despite the common assumption that weight loss often increases cravings. Professor Chris Van Tulliken, co-author of the study and author of the book Ultra-Processed People, emphasized the broader implications of the findings. The global food system currently promotes poor health and obesity by making unhealthy, cheap food widely available, he stated.
And this is the part most people miss. The study highlights that the way food is processed, not just its nutritional content, plays a crucial role in health outcomes. This insight suggests that policies should focus on the environmental factors that drive obesity, such as the influence of multinational food corporations, rather than placing the blame solely on individual choices. The researchers noted that while not all UPFs are inherently unhealthy, their characteristics such as softer textures and higher calorie density make overeating more likely. Dr. Samuel Dickin, the lead author, pointed out that people on the UPF diet consumed 120 fewer calories per day and lost 1% of their body weight on average. In contrast, those on the minimally processed diet consumed 290 fewer calories daily and lost 2% of their body weight, primarily in fat mass. Over a year, this could translate to a 13% weight reduction for men and 9% for women. To combat the rising tide of obesity, the study recommends several policy interventions, including warning labels, marketing restrictions, and financial incentives to make healthy diets more accessible. Dr. Adrian Brown, another author, highlighted the economic barriers to healthy eating, noting that healthy food can cost up to twice as much as unhealthy options, especially in the current cost of living crisis. Rob Percival, head of food policy at the Soil Association, criticized the UK government's long-standing approach to healthy eating guidelines, which has historically overlooked the impact of food processing. We now know that whole foods and ultra-processed products do not yield the same health outcomes, he stated, calling for a reevaluation of dietary recommendations. A spokesperson for the Department of Health and Social Care acknowledged the study and confirmed that the government is committed to further research and action to address the health impacts of UPFs and build a healthier nation. So, what does this mean for your diet? Here's a comparison of the two diets. Minimally processed diet: breakfast cinnamon and apple overnight oats. Lunch: Mexican chicken with salad and flatbread. Dinner: home-cooked cottage pie with green beans and corn. Ultra-processed diet: breakfast, oat and fruit breakfast bar. Lunch: meal deal style packaged chicken tikka wrap. Dinner: ready-made cottage pie with greens and corn. What do you think about the role of food processing in weight management? Do you agree that policies should focus more on the environment and less on individual responsibility? Share your thoughts in the comments. Lose double the weight with this one DIY trick: no calorie counting. Can switching to home-cooked meals really double your weight loss? It turns out it can, and it's not just about cutting calories.
Wait a minute. Why ready-to-eat meals might not be as harmless as they seem?
Sam Blanchard, health correspondent, published 16:40 p.m. August 2025.
According to a recent study from University College London, cooking your own meals could significantly accelerate your weight loss journey.
Participants who opted for homemade fare lost twice as much weight as those who relied on store-bought alternatives, even when both diets were matched for calories, fat, and sugar content. For instance, individuals who enjoyed porridge and home-cooked spaghetti bolognese shed pounds faster than those who consumed packaged oat bars and ready-made lasagnas. Those on a processed diet lost only 1.05% of their body weight over 2 months, whereas those sticking to unprocessed versions achieved a 2.06% reduction, essentially halving the number of calories they needed to cut. But here's where it gets interesting. The difference wasn't just in calorie consumption. Home-cooked meals seemed to curb cravings more effectively, potentially leading to greater weight loss over time. Professor Rachel Batterham from University College London emphasized, choosing whole foods and cooking from scratch is likely to offer additional benefits. This suggests that the processing method of food plays a crucial role in its impact on our health, regardless of its nutritional label. In the UK, ultra-processed foods, UPFs, dominate our diet, accounting for roughly 2/3 of what we eat. These include everything from chips and chocolate to ready meals and breakfast cereals. Minimally processed foods, on the other hand, are those that require preparation but are sold in their natural form, like pasta or rice. Unprocessed foods encompass fresh produce, lean meats, and nuts. The study's findings align with broader research linking ultra-processed foods to various health issues, including increased risks of early death. So, how does your kitchen stack up? Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, were categorized using the NOVA classification system developed by Brazilian researchers. This system ranks foods based on their degree of processing. Group 1 includes unprocessed or minimally processed foods like fresh fruits, vegetables, grains, and meats. Group 2 consists of processed culinary ingredients such as salt, sugar, and oils. Group 3 features processed foods like canned vegetables, salted nuts, and artisanal breads. Group 4 encompasses ultra-processed foods, which are highly engineered products, often containing additives and preservatives. Examples include sodas, candy, packaged snacks, and ready-to-heat meals. While the NOVA system doesn't definitively determine a food's healthiness, it does highlight the extent of processing involved. And this is the part most people miss. Even seemingly healthy options can fall into the ultra-processed category, making them less nutritious than their homemade counterparts. So what does this mean for your diet? According to Prof. Batterham, moderating overall energy intake and limiting salt, sugar, and saturated fat while prioritizing high-fiber foods is key. Opting for less processed options like whole foods and cooking from scratch can provide significant advantages over relying on packaged meals. This research opens up an intriguing debate. Could the simple act of cooking at home be the missing link in effective weight management? Or are there other factors at play? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below.